Can everyone in the back hear me? All right, if you cannot hear me, just remind me to speak up. We are ready to begin, so everyone, could you please silence or put your phones on vibrate? Please silence your phones or put them on vibrate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I said earlier, my name is Bryce Huffman, and I am the engagement director here at Bridge Detroit. Show of hands, who has never heard of Bridge Detroit before? I'm just making sure, because I got to give the spiel of who we are real quick before I let these people who want to represent you tell you about themselves. We are a nonprofit newsroom. We launched 5 years and 1 month ago. Our entire goal, our entire mission is making sure that Detroiters have news and information that is free. These magazines that we've been handing out, you will never have to pay for those. You will never see an article on our website hidden behind a paywall. It is our goal to make sure that everyone in our city is well informed and can make the best decisions for themselves and their families. So before we really get into things, I want to make sure that we give a round of applause to yourselves for being here, for being engaged, for caring about who's trying to represent you. Another round of applause to the people who want to represent you. It is not easy to run for office, so please make sure you give them your love, your attention, and your respect. People keep asking me as we do these events, why are we doing Meet the Candidate events? Why are we having people be face-to-face with the people running for city council? And it really boils down to two main things. We want to make sure that everyone out there knows who wants to represent them and knows what that person is about. How many times have we got to the voting booth and there's a bunch of names and we're like, well, that name sounds kind of familiar, I'll pick that one. And look at where that's gotten us. We need to have people who run on more than just name recognition in our city. We need to have everyone have a fair shot at getting your attention and getting the information to you. The other reason, we want to make sure that the candidates have a chance to actually see and meet you face to face. It's not enough to see their name on an article or to see their name on social media. You need a chance to shake their hand, ask questions, talk to them, realize that they're a real human being that has real concerns and real solutions to issues going on in your neighborhoods. So, this is District 5, one of the biggest council districts in the city. It stretches all the way from the northwest side all the way down to Belle Isle. It is a very confusing looking district, but just so you're all aware, last year the district maps were changed. So just because you were in District 5 in the last election does not mean you are still in District 5 in this election cycle. If you find any of these people over here who serve food to you, they are part of the Bridge Detroit staff, they can help you figure out where you actually are, which council district you are in. All right? You guys good? Okay. So, before I get into the forum with these candidates, we have someone who's running for Community Advisory Council who I'm going to invite up. Unfortunately, we have so many city council candidates in District 5 that I didn't get a chance to really let her speak on the stage. I'm going to give her 2 minutes, and then afterwards, if you have more questions for her, more thoughts for her, you can share them with her. All right? Give her a round of applause because she's also running for office.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dorian Ballard. I am running for District 5 Community Advisory Council. A quick overview of the Community Advisory Council. We do not set legislative agenda, budget priorities. Our goal, or the goal of the office, is to bridge the gap between community and government. I'm very passionate about that. Some things that I'm involved in, I'm a member of the NAACP Health and Wellness Committee. I'm a member of the Charles H. Wright Women's Committee. I also volunteer around the city for New Leaders Council. And so my goal as I'm running for Community Advisory Council is really to connect with residents, folks who are interested to know what city council is doing, what the mayor is doing, what priorities the city government has set forward for residents, and communicate that back to residents. Also, connect with residents to understand what are priorities that they want their city council to address, what are priorities they want the mayor to address, and be ever so present in their offices, in their chambers, and through the systems that are set up with engagement from Community Advisory Council. The great thing about Community Advisory Council is it is the only elected office in the city to be established by petition. So petitions were signed a couple years ago to establish a council in District 5. There's also an established council in District 4 and District 7. So I intend to work very closely with those folks elected to the District 4 and 7 councils and with the individuals who are interested in setting up community advisory councils in all districts in Detroit. So again, my name is Dorian Ballard. I am running as a write-in candidate, so you spell my name, D-O-R-I-A-N, last name B as in boy, A-L-L-A-R-D, and I'm running for District 5 Community Advisory Council. I'll be around afterwards, and I really look forward to speaking to some of you.
Thank you. Give her another round of applause. We also, again, there are so many candidates, we could not actually fit all of them up here. If you are a person who is running for council in District 5 and you are not on the stage, could you please raise your hand? So afterwards, DeQuincy Hyatt and Kevin Jones, you can find these two gentlemen and talk to them. We're gonna give them a chance to maybe speak towards the very end if we have some time, but otherwise, find them. They're very approachable and very knowledgeable, so come talk to them. But now, for the candidates who are on the stage. There is a microphone right next to you. We're going to start at the far end. You will have 90 seconds to respond. This first question is not meant to trip up anyone. City Council is the legislative branch of the city government. They write laws, policies, and ordinances. They also finalize the city budget. And all of these people are running to do that job for you. So I'm going to give them 90 seconds to tell you why they want to do that job for you. I'll start with you, sir.
Good evening. My name is George Adams, and I'm running for City Council, District 5. I live in the Virginia Park neighborhood for the last 10 years through my nonprofit, 360 Detroit. We have been doing affordable housing, introducing $7 million of economic impact, creating over 100 jobs, and providing programs for over 2,000 residents within the Virginia Park neighborhood. You can't hear me? Okay, sorry about that. What part did you not hear?
All of it. But you can't get your time back.
Good evening. My name is George Adams. I'm running for City Council, District 5. I live in the Virginia Park neighborhood. I run a nonprofit, 360 Detroit, for the last decade. I've been doing affordable housing. I've been doing introduced over $7 million of economic impact into the Virginia Park neighborhood, providing programs for over 2,000 residents and creating over 100 jobs. I want to take that, what I've done on a micro level, to the macro, to the Office of City Council, to produce for the entire district and the city of Detroit jobs, affordable housing, and also my platform is public transportation. So I think that we have the opportunity to do something very unique and very creative in this space and in this time. And so I'm the person to be the creative one, because those things were not available to us in the Virginia Park neighborhood until I advocated to make sure that we were able to have affordable housing out of the 135 houses that were allocated for the Herman Kiefer development. So there was a fight, I'm willing to fight, and I'm willing to get results. So that's why I'm running for the office of City Council.
Hello everyone, can everyone hear me? Okay, my name is Tajana Jackson. I'm running for Detroit City Council District 5 because I have a love for community. My grandfather, I'm a fourth generation Detroiter. My grandfather, Nathaniel Holloway, he was deeply involved in community. He was a founder of First Independence State Bank, one of the largest African-American owned banks in the country. My great-grandmother owned a nursing home on Webb in the Lodge. And I was nominated as president of my neighborhood association. That is when I really got deeply involved myself, carrying on the legacy of community. I'm an educator at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. So I do a lot of things with community, and I'm passionate about inclusivity. With all of the change that's happening in Detroit, and especially in District 5, I believe that there is an information barrier. I believe that has to be bridged. And that's why I'm running. So my name is Tajana Jackson again, and we will get it taken care of.
Good evening. It's really great to see so many people out in support of the political process. And my name is Michael Hart, and I'm the candidate for Detroit District 5. I live in historic Indian Village. I moved there many decades ago, and one of the reasons why I'm running is because the area looks like it did like 40 years ago. Nothing has changed. In fact, Kwame Kilpatrick built more development in that area than Mayor Duggan. He built the Jefferson houses and 4 shopping centers. So there hasn't been a lot of development at all. It's basically vacant wasteland. And I have a plan to bring affordable housing. We need approximately 50,000 houses in the city of Detroit. And every single day there's about 65 people that move to the city of Detroit. My background is basically manufacturing. I've been a human resources senior level person in Tier 1 automotive suppliers. I worked at Sakti Automotive. We built $80 million worth of 5 assembly plants, hired 1,200 people, and I was the first person in the United States to hire 275 return residents, individuals from prisons, and we hired 67% of Detroiters. My plan is there's 1,000 automotive suppliers in the metropolitan area, and I'd like to bring 5 automotive assembly plants. I've been involved in building 15 manufacturing facilities.
Excuse me, sorry, your time is up. I'm sorry, there's so many candidates that we have to stick to strict time limits. Asha, can you raise your hand real quick, just so everyone can see that you are the timekeeper? She will flash up a sign when you have 30 seconds left. And there will be time to mingle with folks after to kind of expand on things you didn't get to in your 90 seconds.
Good evening. My name is Renata Miller, and I am running for City Council District 5. The question was, why are you running for City Council? I'm running because can you hear me? My name is Renata Miller, and I'm running for City Council District 5. The question was, why are you running for City Council? I'm running because there needs to be a bold change with the 9 seats in City Council. When you put on Channel 10, you see status quo, you see the same old, same old. You see people that are bought, sold out, and they are not accountable for what's going on in the city of Detroit. We need someone that's going to actually stand up, take a bold stand, vote for the people, and bring the dollars home and into the neighborhoods. Downtown is beautiful. I'm excited how it looks in my lifetime, but it's time that the residents be heard. We need more community engagement. Out of 365 days of the year, you can come back to the neighborhoods, you can walk the streets and talk to your constituents. We owe that to you as voters, and if I'm elected, you will see me probably more than you want to. But I do believe that you need a voice, and I am that voice for City Council, District 5. And my name is Renata Miller.
Good evening. I apologize for my attire, but my church, Sacred Heart, is having their 150th anniversary ball tonight at the Rooster Tail, so I may have to leave early. My name is Michael Stephen Richard. I was born in this area, went to Northeastern High School, Newton and Campbell, so I grew up in this area. My background is I graduated from Central State University with a degree in political science. I graduated from U of D with a degree in public administration. I have the education. What about experience? I worked for City Council for 2 years under Barbara Rose Collins. I worked for the county under Jewel Ware and Monique Baker McCormick as their legislative assistant. I worked for Congressman John Conyers for several years as his assistant. So I have the legislative background. I have the political background, the experience. But what are you doing in the community? The Detroit Free Press said that I devoted my entire adult life to this community. I love this area. Why am I running for City Council? Because I can make a difference. I was born here, I live here, and I will stay here. I know what happened when Coal Town was built and everything else died. I do know that we stopped the development at Verner all the way to 94, nothing. I want to do something about that. My name is Michael Stephen Richard. I'm running for Detroit City Council, 5th District. I'd like your vote. Thank you.
I'll come over here. Don't start my time.
Okay. My name is Esther Hagabuck, born and raised on Virginia Park. 30 years ago, I stepped out on my porch and saw two Detroits. Vivid blocks full of promise and others full of disinvestment. And because I love the city, I rolled up my sleeves. I stayed here while others left. So let me share with you my track record since I decided to stay here and roll up my sleeves. I served 12 years on the Virginia Park Citizens District Council, where I rewrote zoning and delivered home repair. 12 years. For CVS Pharmacy Development Team, I turned vacant corners into pharmacies bringing jobs and food. For 15 years at the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, I helped to finance hundreds of affordable units with tax credits. And currently at HUD, I manage millions of dollars that help roofs to get fixed and shelters to stay open. I have a 3-point plan to bring in affordable housing and tax relief, and I have the experience of managing dollars at the local, state, and federal level. And I want to use that experience to make a difference tomorrow. Vote for me, Esther Hagabuck, on August 5th.
And then last but not least, good afternoon, good evening. How's everybody doing? Good, good. My name is Whitney Clark, and I am a write-in candidate for Detroit City Council. Now listen, here is a pivotal time in the history of our city. We have an aging demographic, an aging population here in the city, but we also have a very young generation that needs to be trained up. And what you have in the middle is you have parents and you have families who are trying to bridge this gap. The question that we are asking ourselves in this election is, how do we protect our seniors, and how do we ensure that our children are ready to work out of high school again? I'm the best person to make that argument because I understand what the seniors in this room have sacrificed. I understand what it's going to take in order to ensure that all of our seniors have the right to age with dignity, and a matter of bringing that to fruition is by bringing up our children, letting them know that they have the responsibility to learn a trade out of high school, to start a family, to vote in every election, and to help their elderly neighbor. I am a husband, a father, a business owner, a licensed minister by vocation, and I look forward to sharing more of my vision with you. You can see all of my information at my webpage, WhitneyClark4Detroit.com. Again, I'm a write-in candidate, and I hope to have your support and earn your support here on tonight. Thanks again.
So I'm going to ask about 4 questions, then I'm going to open it up to audience questions, and then after that I'm going to let them meet you face to face and continue the good conversations. I'm going to start at the end with you. One of the biggest issues that has plagued District 5 for as long as I've been a reporter, and longer really, is property taxes in the city of Detroit. We know that from 2010 to 2016, Detroiters were over-assessed on their property taxes by about $600 million. The current District 5 Council member, Mary Sheffield, who's running for mayor, went out of her way to try to understand how she can use the city's legislative body to fix that issue. If elected, how would you go about fixing the property tax issue?
So good evening again. So one of the things I think that with the higher property taxes in our properties, I think that we need to.
If you want, you can come over here and use this mic.
So what I would do is I would work with the assessor, one, to make sure that the properties are being assessed correctly. So that if they're being assessed correctly, then they're being taxed correctly. We want to work with the assessor to make sure that future assessments are assessed correctly. As it relates to those properties that were overassessed in the $640 million, we got to figure out a way that we can either in stages, make our folks whole that lost that $640 million. You cannot do it in one swoop because it would be detrimental to our budget. And so in stages, we need to figure out some kind of incremental way to make the folks that lost their properties whole in the whole process. So that's what I would do to make sure that we are made whole in the $640 million for assessment.
So what I would do, I would not shy away from, in order to, first of all, to lower the property taxes, I wouldn't shy away from maybe a small sales tax. That will kind of balance things out. In order to address the overtaxation issue, well, number one, the city is limited with funds, especially knowing that federal funds are being cut. Now all of us are in an entire different situation. So one of my biggest goals, which I believe can happen, is creating a Southeastern Michigan region millage. And if we are able to work with our surrounding counties, which I believe they will be willing to do because of what's happening right now with the federal funds, that will bring in extra funds into the city, that will probably be able to lower costs, and we can even create a Southeastern Michigan regional bond after that happens, meaning that we can match or even make more money and attract global investors. So it's a fund issue. In order to pay people back what they were overtaxed, we need to bring in more funds. And I believe that is the straight shot in order to gain the most funds. Thank you.
My name is Michael Hart, and what I would do, what we found going to Washington, 9,000 households, we have like 4 categories. We call it WASP: water, assessment, sewage, return rates, and property tax. Property tax is the 4th one with all of the complaints. Currently, we've talked to many residents. I have a journal, and most of the properties are overassessed between 50 to 100%. And Alvin Horn, there should be an audit, and there should be an investigation because Alvin Horn is overassessing properties. I'm pleased to say that my son, another Michael Hart, is 22. He works for the Tax Coalition for Detroit. And every single week he sits with groups of people, 15, 20, and 50 residents in various neighborhoods in Detroit that know that their houses are in foreclosure and they don't know what to do. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the expertise, and they're helping these individuals in Detroit navigate. So a lot of the nonprofits are very important in guiding the residents' homes that are in foreclosure. The city is not transparent. We have no idea how many houses are in foreclosure. We don't know how many houses that are in water shutoff because everything is tightened up. It's not transparency, but we need an investigation on how many houses are in foreclosure and why they're in foreclosure, and we need an extensive audit to happen now.
Let's be honest.
If you want, you can use this mic.
Yeah, that's please. Let's be honest. We know there is an oversight. We know people lost their houses due to that oversight. They've never been made whole. We can talk about it all day long. We have people in office that want to continue to talk about it, but there has never been a plan to make anyone whole. So let's be real about it. They probably will never be made whole. People lost their family homes. They lost their legacy, and they were forced out illegally. So what do we do going forward? Admit there was a wrong, accept responsibility, and let's be transparent. I work with Alvin Horn all the time, the past president of Indian Village, and I saw how the taxes are inflated based on the rate. I've asked, what is the rate? I would love to see the strategy for how they come up with the values. What is the formula? Can someone give us the formula? I asked for the formula for 3 years, especially when they were talking about the LVT, land value tax. How do you come up with this rate based on what you provided? And they have not. But honestly, They have finally received funding where they can go into so many houses every year. They're supposed to. I'm one of the founders of the Detroit Historical District Alliance, and we had them go into each historical district, and we were allowed to bring in 20. We couldn't even get 20 people in because they're uneducated. They did not want the assessor to come in their house because they figured they were going to be taxed high. Now, don't get me wrong, because of the history of Detroit, they are not trustworthy. People had a reason to feel apprehensive. But we have to allow them to come in and assess each house individually and get an individual rate based on your house.
Mike Richard again. I'm tired of you saying what's our mistake. We're so sorry. The city is always sorry. Every time they make a mistake, I'm sorry, we'll try to correct it. Can I see the hands of any veterans or veteran spouses? I just retired from the Wayne County Veteran Services. The number one concern veterans had was property taxes. Property taxes was too high. I worked with our county treasurer, Eric Sabri, and he said he was not going to foreclose on anybody's homes, especially veterans. What the city needs to do is to look at the tax rate. We are overtaxing our people. The people who have been here the longest, who has not left Detroit, are overtaxed. We need to do something about that. Me, I would suggest going up 1% on the people who don't live in Detroit, who come here to work. Not raise our taxes. Also, thank you for coming to a Detroit baseball game, football game. I want to raise the entertainment tax slightly. I will help our people. I don't want to raise our taxes. Why? We work too hard. I'm slightly younger than everyone up here, so I want to protect our seniors. Mary Sheffield right now has a resolution. She wants people 70 and older not to pay any property taxes at all. I'm for that 100%. Michael Stephen Richard, thank you.
Okay, so we're looking at two issues. One, you talked about the assessments and having fair assessments. And that's something that we definitely need to look at. We know that Detroit property taxes are too high and they need to be lowered. Where do we get the funds to do that? We've talked about the tourist tax. I think that is a viable idea. The other is land bank properties that are owned by investors and they sit there. We need to find them and at an expanded rate, we can take that money to pay toward our taxes. Then regarding those homes that were lost, the first thing you do is an audit. We need to know what we're looking at first. Then have a task force to go through those records and look at our pots of money that we can actually use those funds. I've been state and federal, so I'm about compliance, right? You can't use every dime for everything. So we need to look at those funds that we have available that we can make these people whole.
All right, Esther.
All right. So the answer is about bringing this to fruition. It's not about knowing what the issue is. The issue with the tax burden is the burden itself. It's the way that we are governing in our city. We've got to go as far as reducing the size of our city government, reducing the size of our tax burden. We've also got to take more creative ways about increasing our tax base. I believe that you reduce our taxes by increasing the amount of families that are on the tax roll. How do you do that? You do that by deregulating our housing market. We have the potential and the opportunity to build 3-bedroom homes for $80,000. When we are talking about property, when we're talking about taxes, we're talking about material. Another thing that we've got to have the will to do is we've got to find a new assessor. We've got to find a new treasurer. And so as your city council person, I am committed to going to the 10 o'clock news. I am committed to working the media as much as we need to make the community understand that it may be time for us to find a new treasurer. We've got to stop asking the same people that created our problems to help us solve our problems. I believe that this is a voting matter, and if we can't get this fixed, then that means we need a new assessor and we need a new treasurer. I'm the person that's going to unify and make sure that the next assessor, the next treasurer, is someone who's more responsive to the people.
Don't go anywhere. I'm going to start with you for this next one. So, we all in Detroit have feelings on the Detroit Land Bank Authority. Yeah, I've heard some chuckles, so we all kind of are familiar with that entire situation. There's been people that say we should just get rid of the land bank. There's people that say we should retool the land bank and make it more accountable. So all you candidates, I just need to know, what would your plan be if elected to deal with the crisis that is going on with the Detroit Land Bank Authority?
Thank you, great question. Day number one, federal lawsuit against the land bank, because they've been operating for 3.5 years over their MOU. Now they're gonna make an argument about what they've been doing for the last decade. I believe that if we reduce this criteria and have them focusing on the homes that they've repossessed, that they've foreclosed just in the last 3.5 years since they've been operating over their MOU, I believe that that's a great place to start. Thing number two, the next MOU that the land bank gets in the city of Detroit will be its last. It will be a 3.5-year MOU. One of the stipulations for me is to say that no new homes will enter into the Detroit Land Bank. That is one of the biggest issues. We have the capability, we have the technology, we have the information that is necessary to handle our own housing stock, but you've got to have a leader who is bold and who knows how to bring technology, who knows how to find who owns these properties. You've got to have that type of leader to bring people together and usher us into the future where we are managing our own property. And so that is a large part of our platform. But hear me clearly, the land bank has had their day in our city. It is time for them to go, and it is a matter of how we strategically and methodically replace the efforts that they're currently doing. And I believe that if we create a 3-year plan, that we can phase the land bank out of our city, and that is my goal to do so.
So the Detroit Land Bank is problematic. We've had problems with management and disposition of land. Land banks are excellent tools for property. They clear title, they sell properties, they dispose of it. We have some excellent examples in the state of Michigan, in Muskegon, and in Genesee County. They do an excellent job. So we don't just throw out the land bank, but we do need to retool it. We do need transparency. Before the land bank came, City Council spent all day on Mondays reviewing property sales, and they were 2 years behind. We had so many problems before the land bank came, okay? So we need to have the big picture, we need a historical picture. We need to retool the land bank and change the brokers that they use so we have a more equitable disposition of land and management.
All right.
Great question. The land bank was a great idea. Great concept, great idea. Unfortunately, for the last several years, it's horrible. I've got a neighbor 4 doors down who worked for the land bank. He tells me everything that goes on there. I worked for the city for 32 years. If my department in the city was ran like the land bank, somebody would have got fired. Somebody should have got fired, reassessed, something. The land bank is a good idea. We have all these homes and they're vacant. We need people in those homes. Stop tearing down and let's build up. My idea for the land bank is let somebody buy a house. You don't pay us taxes for 5 years. You have 3 years to build that house up, all the inspectors, leave them alone. Let's build these houses up. So, Detroit needs stronger neighborhoods, and to do that, we reassess the land bank. Don't close it, give it more power, give it more people, give it more homes, and make Detroit a better place to live. Thank you.
The question was, what should we do with the land bank? We should not get rid of it. The land bank has served some of our Detroiters well. The land bank needs to be revamped with Detroiters. The Detroit land bank is Detroit land. Everyone that sits on that panel should be from Detroit. Too many outsiders sit on that land bank. They are special interests. They give the land to their friends, their family, and outsiders. And they profit off the land to Detroiters. It is not right, it is not fair. You cannot pick up the phone and even call and see about a parcel, because they're not going to return your call. There's no place you can go knock on the door and go up on the third floor and see about a property. At one time, you could buy your property next door for $50, then $150. But now someone else owns it. We need council that is not going to loop up land and give away whole acres and put trees on it. We have one guy, the land bank, they couldn't figure out what to do with it. They gave all the land, this land in one area on the east side to one developer. He threw trees on it, and now he's selling it piece by piece. You could have done that with your lot next door if it was by your property. But we have to come up with a strategy that works for Detroiters. Everything is authority. Cobo Hall's authority, the water's authority, the house authority. They've given away every single asset in the city. Where is the income coming from? How are we going to continue to maintain and pay our bills unless we get down and handle our business ourselves with Detroiters? I believe we should build Detroit with Detroiters in every aspect.
And my name is Michael Hart, and what I think about the land bank, it's sort of a dark agency. It's not transparent at all. Again, my son works, his name's Michael Hart too, he works for the Tax Coalition to prevent home foreclosures, and let Mr. Henderson know that they've sent a subpoena to the land bank, and they refused to respond to the subpoena because we know the land bank has been selling properties to large companies and private individuals that owe property tax, and that's illegal. And I've talked to the ombudsman also, and they refuse to release the records. They don't respond to a subpoena, and that's something that should go maybe to the Department of Justice. But I also have a record of about a half a dozen people that have been offered properties through a sale, and the people working the land bank have been trying to sell properties to individuals without going through the right process. So it should be dissolved, and there should be some sort of a new property division created.
I've been working very, very closely with my regional planner in the Planning and Development Department. I was helping a neighbor purchase land. I went through the whole rigmarole, and at the end of it all, the land bank was actually wanted to sell us the land. But who stopped the land was the Planning and Development Department. And they are actually the ones who, do you all know about the framework plan areas that are going on around in different areas of the city? Each and every one of those areas they have land holds, meaning that the residents who live in those neighborhoods can't purchase that land. And that's not the land bank's decision, that's the Planning and Development Department's decision. So what's gonna happen if we get rid of the land bank and now it goes into the Planning and Development Department and they're already denying land right now to people? See, that's something that we have to think about. So what I would say is, as the land bank is continuing, as the land bank is in operation right now, then yes, it does have to be revamped. And also, if there's constant complaints, the same complaints from all over the city, those complaints have to be brought to the table. There has to be a hearing on this, and ordinances need to be created. The city council has to be 100% involved. So that's what I feel. I just want to leave that thought in your mind about it.
I'm gonna try this one. There I go. All right. So the land bank. I think that there needs to be some restructuring to the land bank. If we keep it, that means the city council will have more appointees on the board. So I think that's important for us to have more appointees that give us more control and who's serving on the board. In addition to that, I think that if we get rid of it, we need to have a department within the city to manage all of the properties and the sales of the properties. In each district, as it relates to land, I think there should be set-asides in each district of the land, set-asides for COTs, so that land can be for those community land trusts, so that it can be permanently affordable and set aside for affordable properties or projects. So I think that there should be a set-aside in each district of the land. In addition to that, just so you know, I understand the set-aside and not being blocked out of land purchases. So in Hermit Kiefer area where we are in Virginia Park, they set aside 135 houses, 500 vacant lots, and they said we couldn't buy anything. I fought 4 years to get us, so properties I boarded up in 2014, I bought them in 2023. 28 units of affordable housing that will be complete this year. And so there is a fight, and we need to figure out that fight. How are we going to fight and either keep it and restructure it or get rid of it? Either way, I'm cool with either one. But if we keep it, we got to make sure that City Council has more appointees on the board of directors.
I'm going to ask one more question before we get into the audience part of this. But for everyone here, I just want you to state and explain how you plan to solve whatever you deem to be the biggest issue facing District 5 residents. All right? So whatever you think the biggest issue facing your district is, I want you to just state how you plan to use the Office of City Council to solve that issue.
Great question. Yeah, I think we touched on it. It's really kind of hard to pinpoint one issue because they're all kind of together. I think the biggest issue here in the city is connected towards housing and our seniors. We've got to figure out a way to increase the housing stock. We've got to figure out a way to bring more families, working families into our communities. And we've also got to figure out a way to do that while protecting our seniors. My father was born in 1942, my mother was born in 1953. They both had massive strokes at the end of their life. I know what it's like to be an elderly person and still want to keep your dignity and your independence. And that is something that the next generation has to be very sincere about. So how do we do it? We do that through deregulation. We've got corporate ownership in our single family homes. We can strategically remove those if we have the willpower. We can bring in homes that are deregulated. We can bring in homes that use recyclable materials. We can bring in homes that ensure that young families come into these neighborhoods because the will and the act of protecting our seniors, it's a young person's job. And so we've got to begin to put families around these older communities to make sure that they have the wrapping arms around them. So it's around housing and it's about protecting our seniors. And I'm out of time, but I believe that at the root of that, we've got to have better schools. Because how do you get people into the communities? You got to have schools in the communities, and these families are going to be the ones that support our seniors.
Before you sit down, I was asked to make sure that all of the candidates repeat their name. So just make sure you repeat your name.
Absolutely. My name is Whitney Clark. Whitney, C-L-A-R-K-E is my last name. Whitney like Whitney Houston. And then my last name is C-L-A-R-K-E.
My name is Esther Hagebook. And to me, the biggest issue is housing. Why? Because everything else springs from housing. Businesses come into an area when you have enough houses to support it. Housing is fundamental for everyone, for school, for economic growth. So my plan includes locking down affordable housing. We can take Detroit City Land Bank properties and build mixed-use modular homes with a 20-year rent cap and set-asides for teachers, seniors, and city workers. Also, a live where you work tax relief, half those taxes for 5 years for essential workers who buy in the area. And then lastly, having a home repair corps, use CDBG funding for crews that go and fix porches, sidewalks, and roofs within 60 days so that we keep people in place before they're displaced. And then the other is for economic growth in our neighborhood corridors with micro grants and technical assistance for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And my name is Esther Hagebook. Vote for me, and you can see more information on my website. Thank you.
Oh, and just for the candidates, if you need me to repeat the question at any point, let me know, okay?
Michael Stephen Richard, jobs, education, and affordable housing. That's what I stand for. Number one, affordable housing. That's what we're talking about. I want to get developers in one room. You want to put your name on a stadium. Let's put your name on apartment buildings, condos in Detroit. I want to get all the developers together, the unions together, and let's work out a deal. Let's have the John Conyers Housing Association. Let's have Damien Keith Homes. Let's build up Detroit. How to do that, get everybody in the room, and let's get a plan together. Let's build. There's a lot of area between Shane all the way up to the boulevard. Let's build over there. Affordable housing. What's affordable housing? I'm surrounded by where I live. We got Martin Luther King homes, $500,000 homes, and then Lexus Spencer where I live. Let's build up Detroit with affordable homes and get everybody involved. And if you want your name on the building, let's get a plaque. You help build affordable homes for Detroit. Thank you. Michael Richard.
Question?
Yep. So the question was to identify what you believe is the biggest problem facing District 5 and how you plan to use the Office of City Council to solve it.
Well, my one thing that I think is the biggest since I've been on the campaign trail is our seniors. We have over 22,000 seniors in District 5. We have more senior buildings than any other district in Detroit. We cannot overlook our seniors. Our seniors have thrived in Detroit and they've helped build Detroit. So now it's their time to relax. It's their time to actually enjoy their years. So we have to have things in place for our seniors. One of the things is safety, the 911 response. They don't want to just live and thrive. We want them to survive and continue to thrive in those homes. They want to stay in their homes. A lot of them are taxed out of their homes. It's not fair that they live and continue to pay the high taxes. We have to find solutions for them. I would like to see, for health and safety, as far as the seniors, I would like to see at the Coleman Young Center CPR classes. Too many of our young people do not know how to do CPR. I would love to see the defibrillator posted in some of the parks, where they're walking, where they're riding their bikes. We need to have access for seniors. We need to have a person that can go out, and I would have a liaison for all the senior buildings. We have to have someone that can go in and make sure that there's a safety in place. We had a storm today. They said, go to your basement. Where is the fallout shelter for those seniors? Where would they go? They're in 13 and 15 floors. But there is no fallout, no provision. I asked a lot of seniors, do they even have, what do you call, fire drills? There's nothing in place for them. Sorry. Thank you very much. Renata Miller, if I were German, it'd be Renata, but it's Renata Miller.
Thank you.
Michael Hart again. The top 4 issues that I've had, I kind of have an empirical survey. I've been to 9,000 houses, and it comes up with an acronym. It's called WASP. Water, costs, and expenses are the #1 issue. For example, I pay $250 a month for water, and my relative in Sterling Heights pays $67 every 3 months, and I'm paying like $750 for water. Number two, again, is assessments. Property assessments are the second major issue. The assessments are out of this world. There are assessments that are probably 100 to 150% higher than what they should be. And the third one is called sewage. It's return sewage rates. And Mike Duggan slipped that in, and it should have been a vote of the people, because that's considered a property tax. So the return sewage rates are a major issue. And the other thing is property tax. It's very, very high. It's the highest probably in the state of Michigan, and it has to be reduced. Another major category too is housing. The price of rents has went up $300 to $400 a month, and it's mainly because the housing market is tightening up. There is no housing for people to move into, and there's 17,000 people moving into Detroit every single year, so it's driving up the rental prices.
Thank you.
One of the biggest issues for District 5, this is another question that I have for you. Tax capturing. Do you know what tax capturing is? That's something, if not, it's something to definitely look into. When we pay our taxes go to an authority, and they have the authority to take all the taxes and spend it on whatever they want to. Of course, that's included with the private sector. So the entire city of Detroit, when we pay our taxes, those taxes are being captured and they're building up downtown. This is millions of dollars. If they're being taken away from going to our public services, our schooling, the libraries. If that's going to be taking place, then we should all have a say-so in what's happening with those taxes. If they're going to be capturing taxes, then that needs to be going towards our neighborhoods. All of the focus is developing downtown. Yes, that's a good thing. It's wonderful. We're experiencing all those wonderful benefits of downtown, but it also can lead to higher prices. And more investment needs to go into our neighborhoods. And I think that's one of the biggest subjects and biggest focuses that we need to focus on as a city council. Thank you. To Janet Jackson, I'm running for Detroit City Council District 5. Just remember Jackson, okay? Thank you so much.
Again, George Adams, City Council District 5. Affordable housing is a major issue for the district. Affordable housing for all Detroiters. Neighborhood development, that means development that we as neighbors and residents can participate in. We don't need someone from the outside coming into our neighborhoods, developing our neighborhoods when we need shared equity opportunities so we can develop our own neighborhood. And public transportation needs to be clean, safe, and on time. Period.
All right, we're about to move into the audience question portion. If you have a question for these candidates and you do not already write it on a note card and give it to Christine Ferretti, our managing editor, make sure you do so. If we do not get to your question, there is going to be time for you to ask these folks one-on-one after we're done. But for now, I'm going to hand it over to Christine Ferretti.
Thank you, Bruce. Thanks, Sam Robinson, visiting tonight. Thank you all for being here. And like he said, if we can't get through it all, we'll do our best. Going through my questions, one of the first things I have, this is a two-part question for you. Are you a renter or a tax-paying homeowner? And in addition to that, what's your position on R1 zoning, which is low-density residential, single-family residential? So I don't know who wants to go first here.
Oh, were we going down a line or? Okay. Okay. All right, yes. So, first one, can you repeat the second part of the question?
Yeah, what's your position on R1 zoning, which would be single-family residential? What's that?
Yeah, no, I remember that part. Yes, yeah. So I am a renter. I am a renter here in the city. And R1 zoning, one more time.
It's low density residential, single family.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I believe that so the zoning issue is the issue, right? That is the issue that we're facing. But we've got to be strategic about single-family homes. But the type of homes that we have are important. Listen, we've got to have the type of homes that young families can own. Everybody up here is talking about affordable. Nobody, listen, I'm one of the young people up here. We don't want to rent for the rest of our lives. Newsflash, we need homes that we can own. And so we've got to have city council people that are fighting not for affordable rent that everybody can say is what? Not affordable. We need homes that we can own. And so that is what we're pushing for. And we believe that bringing people back into the homeowner tax base, it helps the renters. It does, because it, in theory, reduces the need for rent. If you can have a family that can choose a home that they can rent or a home that they can own, then many of these families, the families that we are a part of, they will decide to own their homes. And so we've got to use every resource available. A lot of talking about the issue. There's not a lot of talking about how do we redo our zoning? Who's going to make that argument? I'm the guy to make that argument. I'm the one that's going to say we've got to have the type of house, the homes that replenish our tax base, because we're not going to keep families if they're just renting. That's a revolving door. And we know that renters do not have the same type of home rights that are homeowners. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I'll keep it straight down the line this time.
Okay, I'm Esther Hagebook, and I'm not sure what you were asking with the second part of the question, but I'll take a stab at it. If the person could clarify, that would be great. But my name is Esther Hagebook, and I own my home. I live in the LaSalle Gardens community, and I am active in that community. So as far as R1 is single-family homes. You can put some two families in an R1 zone. We have a lot of homes in our neighborhoods that are rented, and some people are using them for Airbnbs, and it's causing problems in neighborhoods. Some of them become party homes, and that should not be allowed in an R1 area. Again, I'm not sure what you were asking about R1, but let me say this. Home ownership is very important because it stabilizes neighborhoods. Everyone can't own a home. They can't afford it, right? And so we do have rental, whether it's homes or apartments, etc. And so we have that available. What is affordable? Affordable is 30% or less of your income spent on your home, whether it's rent or your mortgage. Again, not sure of the R1, but my time is up. I hope that I answered your question.
Thank you.
Michael Richard, District 5. Home ownership, the American dream. Your parents moved into a home. After 30 years, they had a big party that burned the mortgage. Home ownership is important, but Detroit is the king of rental homes. What we need to do is to clean that up. Everybody can't own a home. I live in a condo, so I'm an owner. I had a house before that, but prior to that, I was a renter. Let's make sure that these rental homes are up to snuff. I don't mind you living in Sterling Heights and having a house in Detroit, but I want that house in Detroit to be safe, clean, and secure. Our neighborhoods are important. They're full of rental homes. There is no problem. There's not a problem in renting a home, because everybody can't buy a home. I know if I wasn't in one, I'd probably be renting a home right now. But we need to make our homes clean, safe, for our children to come to, so they'll be happy. I want you to understand, home ownership is important, but rental homes, we need to make rental homes more available and accessible to our people. So I am for a single family, or they do have two-family flats on some parts of the east side of Detroit. I'm for that also. Thank you.
Hi,
My name is Renee Miller. I'm 56 years old and I am a homeowner. I pay taxes. I bought my home at 38 years old after saving for a very long time. I have paid taxes, and there came a time where I couldn't pay taxes because I was disabled. I was bedridden for 3 years and couldn't even walk. And I wondered, how was I going to pay those taxes? But you need people in office that's going to make sure there's provisions in place when you do have a calamity in your life or you do not lose your home. There's seven options you can choose when calamity hit. There's a whole program, there's a veterans reduction. There's 7 different things that I've been telling neighbors all over down Atkinson, all on the west side that you can opt into. And they're willing to help you with your taxes. But you gotta know the information and be educated. As far as R1 zoning is a single family dwelling, period. You cannot have anything besides one family on that lot. That means no additional structures is built because we're in the age of gentrification. Nowadays, they want to take a garage and make it an Airbnb. They want to make it a rental property and make it for a profit. It is illegal. If I buy a house, I want to live next door to one resident. I do not want to have anyone come in and have a party next door because they feel like they want to make some money. It is illegal. Detroit is one of the largest residential home ownerships in the United States. And we've been proud to own homes in Detroit. By any way, rent to own, whatever you need to do, go to the auction, but you can own a home if you choose to. And it takes time sometimes, and it takes discipline. And I just want to say that R1 zoning is one of the biggest things that we have to continue to fight for in Detroit. Otherwise, we'll have apartment buildings, condos, duplexes sky high right in the middle of the residential area. We need backyards to play for our children.
Thanks so much.
Again, my name is Michael Hart, and I'm a homeowner, a long-term homeowner. I have neighbors that also own homes. And again, I'm going to get into the assessment area. A neighbor that pays $5,800 a year in property taxes, but the assessments are artificial. They've raised them 200 to 300%. The city said that assessments went up $5 to $6 billion, and that's by plan design. And they're saying investments of homes went up 150% in value as far as gains, but it's all artificial. And a neighbor who pays $5,800 if he sells his house, the next person is going to pay $85,000 in property taxes. Again, to talk about R1 residency, I believe in R1 residency. I do not believe in Airbnbs. If you look at East Grand Boulevard, that's an example where the entire East Grand Boulevard was destroyed from nursing homes, from people who live in West Bloomfield. They put 40, 50, 60 people in a nursing home. And East Grand Boulevard, I will say it's come along very fine. It's going through a renaissance right now, but East Grand Boulevard was destroyed at one point from putting anywhere from 40 to 100 people into a home. So I'm opposed to that. I know that the city of Detroit, they support Airbnbs because they want the tax revenue.
Janet Jackson again. I'm from the Arden Park, East Boston neighborhood, and I'm in a home that I own. According to R1 zoning, I'm 100% for R1 zoning. If it wasn't for the zoning ordinances such as R1, that's what's saving our neighborhoods from being taken over. If there was no R1 zoning, there would have to build up anything that you want. Duplexes, apartments, as well as businesses. So R1 zoning is protecting. Downtown is moving further north. If there was no R1 zoning, it would be all mixed up. We don't want that. We want to be able to live where we've been living the entire time we've been living. Since whenever we've started living there, while all this building is happening, we don't want it to affect that. So I'm 100% for R1 zoning. Thank you.
So I am also for 100% for R1 zoning and the separation of R1 zoning from any other type of zoning that would be multifamily in that same zoning and industrial as well. I bought my first house in 1992 at the ripe age of 19, and I've been a homeowner ever since. I never lived in a rental property even growing up, so I've been fortunate to live in the city of Detroit for that entire time and never rented, so I understand. I don't have a rental context, that part. I have created affordable housing rental, and I have created affordable housing homeownership. We've done that on West Euclid Street, where we've had 2 duplexes. We put $280,000 in each of those duplexes, and the affordable rate was $150,000 to each of the new owners. And they can live in one unit and rent out the other. So I have created affordable housing for sale and for rent. And I am a homeowner, and I believe in home ownership, and I believe in the opportunity for home ownership, which is why I'm a proponent of community land trust for permanent home ownership that's affordable.
Before you leave, George, as I think I got done with the line here, kind of piggybacking on some of the statements made, I got more than any other question people were asking about, these Airbnbs. Some of you already talked about it, gave your position, but for people who didn't really get into it, I'd like you to be able to talk about what your position is on those, and then, just people are feeling like, some are abiding with the regulations, they're kind of encroaching on neighborhoods, and it's a problem. So what do you think, and what would you do to address the concerns people have?
Great question. I had Airbnbs for 3 years. They were in my neighborhood. I think that responsible owners have responsible Airbnbs. And I think that if I had not had the Airbnbs during the pandemic, I would have lost a lot of properties and got behind because my renters were not paying rent. And so it helped subsidize me offering affordable rent to those that were paying rent. So I was able to offer my renters $600, $700. Hey, I can work with you. I can make an adjustment on your rent so that you can stay because I had Airbnbs. If you're not responsible, I didn't play parties. I didn't play smoking. I was watching my Airbnb. So if you're an absentee owner, I think that that's a recipe for disaster. They were in my neighborhood. I lived in one unit, rented out the other, had another one down the street, and I was monitoring them. And so if you're monitoring Airbnbs and responsible, I think they're effective. If not, they're a nuisance.
Thank you. And again, for people who haven't talked about it, because I know we have a big group, so
I brought it up, I didn't say it. And again, Esther Hagebook. And I just want to clarify real quick that R1 has to do with density. So there's residential density, there's multifamily, and there's single family. There's also the same thing for businesses based on the size. So I just wanted to clarify that so you understand about the zoning. When you bring in Airbnbs to R1 areas where people have invested in their homes for their peace and their quiet and so that they have equity in their homes, Airbnbs can impact that investment in a very negative way. Right now, the city, not the city, but the state of Michigan regulates Airbnbs. So this is not a city council question. However, we can advocate. What would I advocate for? I would advocate for limits. I think within any geographic area, there should be a limit to the number of Airbnbs that are there. I think that there should be tight regulations, and in any contract that Airbnb owner has with visitors should be a noise regulation as well as the number of people who can stay there and not having parties, because it does impact the noise level, parking, and other issues. Thank you. Esther Hagebook, August 5th.
I just wanted to say regarding the Airbnbs, it's a business. So close your eyes for a minute and imagine when you mess with R1 zoning, having a returning citizens home next to you, or a substance abuse home next to you, or a daycare center next to you, or a halfway house next to you. That's what messing with R1 zoning do. Those are the things that you risk coming into your neighborhood. I don't know anyone that wants that next door to them. businesses coming in and out. My children are 32 and 37. They look forward to going to Airbnbs to party every weekend. And normally in Detroit, there's a shootout, a fight or something. That's the reality of it. We had a big shootout in Boston Edison last year at the Airbnbs. And we've had one just 2 weeks ago. So we have to ask ourselves, is it for profit or is it selfish? Because it affects everyone around you.
Everybody likes those, but they always say, not in my neighborhood. Not in my neighborhood. Airbnbs are great. My fraternity brothers are going to Las Vegas. It's 12 of us. We can't stay in one hotel room. So they're going to get an Airbnb. Detroit's not set up for that. Even though we had the NFL draft, a lot of my friends went crazy when we had the TPC golf outing. They wanted to rent their house out for $1,000. What about everybody else in the neighborhood? You got cars parked on grass. People don't take care of your area if they don't live there, if they have no skin in the game. Airbnbs are great. Hey, I don't want to spend $1,000 in a hotel. But the area has to be set up for that. You don't want a halfway house or any other kind of house in your nice, quiet, secluded neighborhood. Airbnbs are good. They're money makers for the renter or the owner, but not in my neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anybody else who didn't? I think a lot of you already addressed it. Just want to make sure.
I didn't speak on Airbnbs. Airbnbs, they can be dangerous. And again, I know Esther Hockenbutt, she did mention about the state authority. That is exactly what I was going to say about that. It's not as easy with going, me and my neighbors, I'm the president of Arden Park East Boston. We did everything we can do to stop the Airbnbs in our neighborhood. But again, it stopped at the state. So I would sit down with the mayor. That's one of the positive things about a new mayor coming in, whoever that may be. They may be willing to sit down and negotiate, to talk with the state, with the governor. And hopefully that's where those regulations can be put in place. So that's my sense on Airbnbs. I know we had someone got killed in one of them not too long ago. And when you have people from all over the place coming in from with traveling, it's not all, they're not always going to follow those rules. They're not going to follow those rules. They may be there one day. You know what I mean? So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to move on here. I really like this question. I like it because it's very, it's got purpose. What has been your most significant, tangible, and quantifiable contribution to District 5 to date? Let's start with you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the way we contribute to our community is by looking after each other. I'm a licensed minister by vocation. I didn't have an opportunity to mention that I also have a child care center. My wife and I started the Heart Next Door in 2019, Early Enrichment Center, providing child care opportunities to at-risk children. Also in my professional life, I work for the Children's Defense Fund, so early childhood education is very important to me. And so that is kind of how I contribute to society, is by imparting into our young generation. Because I truly do believe that it is a matter of bringing our children up in a way that really restores our community. The sense of community and family is what has been lost. The sense of looking after your neighbor, the sense of checking on one another. That is something that we've got to train our children at an early age to do. Have you checked on your neighbor? We've got a neighbor down the hall from us, and whenever we don't see her a couple of days, we go down there and knock on the door. Sometimes I bring food from one of the food banks and bring it to her, because we've got to make sure that our children are coming up in an environment where they know to look out after one another. And so that has been the primary way that I've contributed and given back to society, is by having a family of my own, and also by imparting into the next generation that we've got to do this together. It's our civic responsibility to look after one another.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess for now we'll just go.
Okay, two things I'm proud of. Those black garbage cans that you complained of. When they first came out, I was on city council staff. I had to go out to the community and say, that's not a tax. We need those black garbage cans because our garbage collectors were used to taking the metal cans, if you remember those, and they wanted 1 to 2 garbage people on those trucks. So I had to go out into the community and say, look, we need those cans. Please buy those cans. And I explained to them that if you lost it, how much you had to pay for it. But that was a good thing. The second thing is when I worked for the Department of Elections, it was my job to make sure that the voting sites were ADA compliant, to make sure that people could go in and vote. But also I had to remind people, because I was a trainer, you could come out to their car to help them to vote. So I was a trainer. I am very, very happy that I did that, because people with wheelchairs, I can't vote. Why can't you? So now everything is ADA compliant. So I am very proud of those garbage cans and being able to have everybody vote.
Thank you. Now we'll get back
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so the question is, what have I contributed?
Yeah, you're most.
Okay, so I can't select one thing, because I've spent the last 30 years impacting my community. As I mentioned, I worked on the Virginia Park Citizens District Council for 12 years, writing the plans for the area, delivering home repair, hearing the community, taking those concerns to the city. The CVS pharmacy, most of the CVS pharmacies that you see in the Metro Detroit area, I worked on the pre-development team, which meant that I did site selection, acquisition, and all the pre-development, working with the engineers, architects, and the city planning in order to get the permitting for those projects. So I brought jobs to the city. At Michigan State Housing Development Authority, I mentioned already the low-income housing tax credit deal. So that's hundreds of affordable units that I've brought to the city. And then at HUD, those dollars that we spend throughout the state of Michigan, so that people who are homeless have shelters and wraparound services, so that local communities can have CDBG funds for so many things, and for their infrastructure improvements, from home repairs and etc. So that is the impact that I have. I am a housing practitioner, and that is what I bring to the table. I am a professional housing expert.
Thank you. Ms. Miller?
Renata Miller. The question was, what is the most significant things you've done in District 5? For me, one of the most significant things I've done is one of the founders of the Detroit District Historical Alliance. And we've partnered with Indian Village, Palmer Woods, Sherwood Forest, Arden Park, and Russell Wood Sullivan. And we have community partners also with Oakland Boulevard and Virginia Park. But having those significant neighborhoods, which filter into neighboring neighborhoods to preserve the history of Detroit. So many times when people come to Detroit and they fly in, the first thing they want to see is the neighborhoods. Can we see the neighborhoods? So you drive them to Belle Isle. Of course, you're going to go there first. They want to drive and see where do we live? Where do we live, and what do we live like? So that has been one of the biggest things, to be able to go down to City Hall. We were there fighting against the ducks and the chickens, and we were bringing the ordinance came in for the daycare centers every 500 feet, but more importantly is the taxes, helping with the tax deduction. Going to individuals, having the assessor come in to your home and being one of the people there to help them assess, to say this house may be worth $500,000, but when you come in, the roof is leaking, the concrete is torn up, the foundation is crooked, and they get a reduction where actually the value has come down to $190,000 and the taxes go down. That is a plus for me, and I'm excited that someone else is happy that their taxes have gone down. Thank you. Thanks.
Again, Michael Hart. I think my contribution would be my entire life I've been a human resources person, senior level on the automotive side, and nothing pleases me more than working with people, hiring people. I've hired thousands of people, at Cadillac, Fleetwood Fisher Body, Lear plant. I also helped launch the Motor City Casino, and we've hired virtually thousands of people. And one thing about people that it's what they call investing. We call it human capital. Nothing is more important in an organization or a company than people themselves. So they're very valuable. But one thing that I've done at SOCT was we hired 275 return residents, many from District 5. And we also were involved, I was involved with called Ban the Boxes on Felonies. That evolved from that. And they wouldn't hire people at all if they had a felony. It's unfortunate where people are not allowed to be employed because they have a felony and they're forced on public assistance. So that has changed, and I think that was a monumental thing that I have under my career.
Thank you very much.
What I've contributed to District 5, well, I work in the museum district, which is in District 5. I've been an educator at the Charles H. Hurt Museum for 7 years, so I've been teaching African American history to students, a lot of them in District 5. I also, when I was president, well, I am right now still president of my neighborhood association, which is Arden Park, East Boston. It is in the North End area. There's a lot of development happening there. There was a big development that was going to happen right in front of Arden Park, right next door to the elementary school, Paradigm Loving. That was going to be a salt center or a snow removal company. That would have had salt trucks all up and down Oakland, coming all into our residential streets. The city did not help me on this, and I did not let this go for months. I stayed on top of this development by myself. I ended up getting into contact with the owner myself. We had a great conversation. He didn't know that the impact he would have been making on the city, and come to find out, he didn't even want to be there. The city placed him there. They could have placed him anywhere, but based on my conversation with him, he decided to move the company elsewhere. And I have a lot of respect for him for doing that. The second development, without any community benefits ordinance, without any support from the city, I did have support with organizing with some of the district managers, but with me and 2 other community leaders, we organized Okay, well, thank you so much. Development and inclusivity is my forte.
Thank you.
George Adams again. In 2014, I started 360 Detroit, which is a nonprofit serving the Virginia Park neighborhood. First event I had was a block party. Invited all the neighbors out. I did a survey. I asked all the young people, what do you want to see on some of this 500 vacant lots in your neighborhood? They said they wanted a park. I went to work on behalf of the young people to develop that park. In 2021, after $500,000 of investment, $200,000 in lead remediation, that park was open to the young people. And so that's my greatest impact in District 5. Now we program that park. We have movies in the park, camping, overnight camping in the park. We do our yoga, and we have youth sports play. So it's very active. So those are the programs that we offer to 2,000 residents that impact our neighborhood. And so they asked for it, I went to work on their behalf. It took a while, but I got it done. So that's the greatest impact that I had in District 5.
I just want to say, I think there's so many great questions, but I think we only get time for one more. So here's the last one we'll put out to you guys. What is your plan and strategy to bring more business to some of the commercial corridors in the District 5 communities, like Linwood? So can you guys quickly address that as well?
Yeah, I believe that we've got to make a bet on a market. We've got to make a bet on a market that really reshapes what can happen in our neighborhoods. We believe that it's film and television. We believe that Detroit is the unofficial to-be capital of the world. We believe that that is a market that will provide an opportunity, one, for us to take back control of the stories that are being told, but 2, it is an opportunity for us to increase the revenue that the city makes. You know, everybody that's running for mayor has been talking about increasing revenue, increasing revenue. some of the individuals tonight are talking about grants and talking about cutting taxes. The question that comes from that is created from a business owner's perspective is how are we creating revenue? What type of industries do we have that are bringing foot traffic, that are bringing other side businesses? And we believe that it is television and film. And so what we want to do is we want to bring opportunities for young creators here in the city that have decided that they still need to go to Los Angeles, they still need to go to Atlanta. We're going to begin to create hubs within our neighborhoods, public access opportunities for people to create film and television, and that in itself will become a market that we can create extra revenue from. And so that is one of the things that we want to do. We want to bring that market here into the city, and what that's going to do again is provide a lot of just the side businesses that we'll be having here.
Thank you.
Hello again, I'm Esther Hagabut. I love this question because I really have a heart for entrepreneurship. Let me say this. It is so important to have anchors. I'm going to tell you this. My plan is to have micro grants and technical assistance for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Technical assistance is so important because sometimes we have dollars, we have match dollars, but they understand their business, their service, or their product, but they don't understand business itself. They don't understand the permits that they need, whether for their business or for the property. And so the technical assistance will help with those, but we also need to attract anchors. So I'll work with the mayor and his office to attract larger companies to Detroit for our smaller corridors that will act as an anchor to draw people in for these small businesses. And then some of the vacant land we can use for pop-ups so that people can try their business out. They may be in their home right now, but they pop up and test their business out in that area to see if it's working. And if it works in that location, then we can assist them in becoming permanent in that location. Check out my website. I have more.
Good question. Right now you have one of the biggest developers in the city of Detroit here in our meeting. He always says, location, location, location. I don't mind strip malls. Strip malls are great in a growing community. How do we attract people here? Well, we had the draft. We have a lot of things, people looking at Detroit differently. We have a great mayor. We have a great city council, the whole city council. They're trying to build up Detroit. We need to build up Detroit. We need people like the Jenkins Construction Company. We need this man right here, the biggest developer in the city of Detroit and in District 5. He's right there next to Blue Cross Blue Shield in Jefferson. We need to give him some business. How do we do that? Let's build. Let's tell people Detroit is a great place to live. We are not the murder capital of the world. So, how do we do that? Work hard, clean our neighborhoods up, attract people, and let's shop in our neighborhoods. Thank you. Michael Richard, R-I-C-H-A-R-D. Thank you. Stephen.
Question again. What is your plan and strategy to bring more business to commercial corridors in the communities? Commercial corridors like...
Question is Linwood specifically. First, I would hope community engagement. You have to ask your residents, what do you want? What do you hope to see and hope to gain in your neighborhood? Some might say grocery stores, some would say mom and pop shops, but I would definitely ask them first. And I would look for residents that are from Detroit first. When you get developers that are from Detroit, you have a tendency to have them give back to Detroit. They're more apt to give back. They're more apt to fill out, to assist the neighborhood for libraries like they needed in Virginia Park when Henry Ford came. You have to bring in people that have a heart for Detroit, that want to give back to Detroit. But you got to give them an incentive. You have to have, sometimes the people that want to come in, they can't fill the applications out. They have the DDF fund, the DDF, they have the Winter City Match. They do not know how to get those grants and the funds to start your business. And there's some quality business. Sometimes people just need a leg up or start. So I would hold it fair for people that live in this area that want to come and give back to this particular area. I used to get my hair done in that area. Now they're bringing in a new shop. I just had a meet and greet at the in Harmony there. Beautiful. Yes, at the cafe. So now we have to continue to look for people that want to operate business in their own neighborhoods first. And then we go out, and if we can't get the job done, that's what I do first. What's your name? My name is Renata, and I am also a business owner. I own a tropical smoothie. I own a vending machine company. At one time, I am retired. And my daughter owns, she picked a neighborhood. She picked,
I'm trying to let people know their time is up as politely as possible.
And Michael Hart, good luck with all dreams and promises, but the only way you're going to get development in Detroit is one way. You need the state legislature to create Renaissance zones, and you need tax breaks for supermarkets with fresh fruit and vegetables. You need tax zones to build subdivisions, not high-rise buildings. Along East Jefferson there's probably 16 square miles of vacant land. A lot of the lots are filled in with debris, so it's going to take a lot of money to do that, and the only way you're going to do it is you need help from Lansing. It's going to take the Renaissance zones, and you need right now in Detroit probably like 25,000 housing units. The mayoral candidates they're not in tune with what's happening. We're talking about 2,000 to 3,000 housing units. You probably will need 100,000 units according to architects that I'm talking with probably in the next 7 years. And you need Renaissance zones from Lansing, the same thing that Gilbert and Illich got. They got $5 billion in tax breaks, taking $80 million out of our school system. So you need, and I think $10 billion with deductions, tax breaks for Midtown and downtown. So now it's the neighborhood's turn for development. East Jefferson, where I'm at, is just a mess. It's nothing but vacant fields.
Again, you'll get a chance to talk to all of them after this is over.
To Janet Jackson again. Development is going to happen. Public-private partnerships, they're going to happen. So where should the focus be on when it comes to businesses? Small, local businesses. And in order to fuel the businesses, some of them are struggling. I would say create a great relationship with private equity firms and venture capitalist firms. That way, if we have those firms working with the city, if we have a partnership with one of those firms, they can help the businesses that are here. As right now, we're struggling with funds ourselves. The city is struggling with funds. Those private equity firms, those venture capitalist firms can come in and support our small businesses while all the development is going on, and they have a footstool with that. Thank you so much.
George Adams. So we have in our neighborhood what's called the Virginia Park Community Plaza, a development that was developed by the neighborhood residents for the neighborhood. And so I think that when we look into neighborhood development, residents should have an opportunity to participate in the ownership of that development. And then as an investor of some level of percentage, if we're going to do, development is coming. So how can we have some equity in the development? Even when we talk about community benefits agreements, there needs to be some equity. We're talking about amenities. How about 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5% of the deal? So that we can pass some generational wealth down to our children. So I'm a proponent of equitable investment opportunities for residents to participate in the development of their own neighborhood first. Then we bring in outside folks to assist us.
All right, so could we just get another round of applause for all the candidates who've been on stage today? Before we officially close out, there are two more writing candidates, and I want to give them a chance to speak because Whitney was allowed to be on the stage. So I want to give. Come on. Come on, Kevin. Come on, Kevin.
How everybody doing? My name is Kevin Coach Kellogg Jones. I am the best candidate for District 5 City Council. Why? It's because I don't just operate in the area in which I grew up. I operate in the whole district. So when you talked about businesses on Linwood, I rode it several times. When you're talking about Shane Street, Mike, I right now have given people hope in a lost cause, right? If you come down Shane and Willis, you will see how we have trained our young people how to build homes. We have a young carpenter, we have an architect that is teaching them, and everything is built. We're creating a corridor is by our youth out of the GDYT program, right? The second thing I want to share real fast with you, the first thing I would want to do is unite the body of the council. Because as long as they're separated, we ain't gonna get a damn thing done. But when they come together as one body, that is the most powerful entity in this city. They don't get that credit because they are so separate. I'm not gonna be up here trying to say the best thing for you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. We are in a struggle. We are in a fight. And if we don't continue to fight, if you look at one thing, I want to share this with you. I'm gonna sit down. It took them 4 years to open up the Coleman Young Recreational Center. And we are happy because they opened it. Bull crap. We should be upset because what happened in those 4 years? Kids went astray. All kinds of things. We got to continue to fight. My name is Kevin Jones. When you go to the ballot or when you get your thing, you look. You see those checks, those names, you go past it and check my name and write me in because I'm the best candidate for City Council.
How you doing? My name is Quincy Hyatt. I am a write-in candidate for District 5. And I just want to thank our panel of candidates. You guys done a phenomenal job. However, if you're looking for someone and need for someone that's going to represent each and every one of you when it comes to affordable housing, having the option to rent to own, I am the only candidate that's focusing on creating more homeowners and landowners throughout the city. How? I am the only candidate focusing on introducing programs that's going to empower our people, not only financially, but mentally and educationally with financial literacy programs, credit literacy, things that plagues our city is crime. I'm a part of an organization called Clean Up Detroit. My goal is to expand that organization so we can clean the city up, district by district, block by block. I am the only candidate that's focusing on uniting our people from the perspective of giving everyone a chance to purchase property, and most important, holding the Detroit Housing Authority Land Bank accountable for their actions. In regards to introducing a proposal that would allow our people to purchase property on a land contract. You need a candidate that's going to understand the financial climate of Detroiters. Everyone don't have the finances to purchase something day one. No one don't has the finances to go ahead and apply for a loan, or better yet, a credit to apply for a loan. But having the option to purchase on a land contract will benefit our people. And that's my name, Quincy Hyatt. I'm asking for your vote, your support. Again, remember Hyatt like the hotels. Quincy Hyatt.
All right, give it up for our writing candidates as well. All right, well, thank you all for showing up. Now the candidates will give you some. I'm gonna let y'all just start to mingle because it looks like it's about to start raining again fairly soon. Make sure you grab up some food if you didn't already get some, and give yourself, again, a big round of applause for making it today.